It's another football show, and we're discussing Osimhen, Victor Osimhen today, and the drama that has surrounded him, and all the transfer news and issues that he's battling with. We made to discuss that is Mustafa, Jinodu, and Warifa Marcos. I'm still Afolabi. You're welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you. So I know that the amount that these guys are asking for is 75 million euro, right?
Yeah,
That 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 Napoli is asking for 75 million euro,
yeah, 75
and
million euro.
that's right says that they may be able to pay it, but they want to pay it in parts, like over four parts or over two
Yeah,
parts, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure.
Okay, but on top of that, if Osimhen reduces his salary, would that make a difference to Galatasaray? Are they still going to pay him? How much is he asking Galatasaray to pay him? Well,
Osimhen,
that's part of the 75 million
Osimhen,
euro. That's
Osimhen
part of
is currently on 10 million euros per annum net. So he wants
so that's
Galatasaray.
that part of the 75. That's part of the 75
No, no,
million
no.
transfer
75
fee
million is the transfer fee, club to club.
The
plus
transfer
plus
fee.
10 million plus
Yes,
10 million.
plus 10 million.
So if let's say
The problem, is not executing. I think the problem lies between the signing fee, Galatasaray and Napoli. Napoli are just proving stubborn.
Galatasaray
yeah,
can actually Galatasaray can pay that amount for him, but he will have to drop his wages. That's the real problem. His wages, I don't think
Okay, from
Galatasaray can
Galatasaray.
afford. I don't think they can afford his wages. That's why they opted for a loan last year. They were only paying half of his wages. Napoli was paying the other half. And I don't think Napoli
Okay.
wants that kind of arrangement anymore.
so Afolabi, how do you see this thing being resolved? What's going to happen?
I think Victor
What do you think?
Osimhen would have to reduce his wages. And I think Galatasaray are really desperate to sign him because he did well. And I think they're in the Champions League again. The
Yeah,
coach,
they're in the Champions League.
yeah, the coach in Napoli, they don't fancy him. And what Napoli just wants to milk as much as they can from him. So
Yeah,
if
but they're being unreasonable because if they hold on to if Galatasaray can't pay, that means he'll be stuck at Napoli and
With
they won't get
Napoli.
any money for him, and they're
yeah,
still gonna be paying.
and part
So
of the
there's
reason too is that most of these agents, what they do is to exploit players and milk them. They don't protect the future of these
The player.
players. They don't protect the future of these players. So basically, that's the problem. They're only interested in the percentage of money they will make from the deals. Because if you had a good agent that was interested in the well-being of his future, they wouldn't have allowed Galatasaray to put that kind of clause in his contract and you just walk away with it. Because as it is now, he won't be playing football. Napoli will be paying him. He can't go to another club, and he's unwilling to drop his wages. 10 million euros is a lot for a striker of his age. The top teams in Europe prefer to buy younger strikers who can play longer for them. You know,
that means that if he goes to for that 10 million, that would mean Galatasaray is paying a total of 85 million for him in
exactly,
transfer fee. Yeah,
exactly.
he needs to reduce. He needs to take at least 5
Exactly.
million
And then
from
clubs
that.
also look at your merchandise and your marketing potential. In Galatasaray,
Values.
they're looking at his image rights and stuff. Can they still make money with him at his age, and all those kind of things? So they put all those things on the table before, they can agree a deal. And they want to structure the deal. Napoli is asking for an outright guaranteed payment. Galatasaray want to pay it in installments. So I think that's another issue. I think
Yeah, and then
it
these
will
other teams they
eventually
don't
be
want.
resolved, maybe towards the end of the transfer window.
So the
But
end of the transfer,
it's
yeah.
not something that will happen very quickly.
Yeah, and this is I don't know when did this guy sign this deal with Napoli? Osimhen. When did he sign with them?
It was
Because
in 2023. His latest contract was signed in. They gave him an extension in 2023. It was then that they set his
When the going was good.
yes,
yeah,
the release clause was set at 120 million euros, but they're willing to go down to 75 million euros if they get a buyer. But that is still a lot for so many teams. And
and then the other question I have
Yeah.
is why don't they just keep him and start him this year?
it's
Why
the
don't they want to do
coach.
that?
The coach, Antonio Conte, doesn't really fancy him. And you see the way Osimhen plays, Osimhen is a classic number 9. And most teams
Yeah.
would want a number 9 that's flexible enough to play across the front line. So because of that, not many teams fancy him for that amount. He's a good player, no doubt, but they're willing to pay less for strikers who are more flexible.
Yeah. I don't know how well. I mean, I know Osimhen is good, but he needs to pick up his game a little bit like Kane. You got to pass the ball. You have to drop back. You have to do some other things too.
Another issue is
But
injuries. He keeps getting injured. So that's another
And no club will want that kind of player. And also, I think Osimhen need to look at his agents. To look at his agent. I don't know if he does not listen to his agent, but if I'm Osimhen, I think for him for his career not to die, he needs to take a pay cut to move on. Just like look at your career that is about pushing to come to Arsenal. He's sacrificing and just make the move go through. So I think Osimhen should maybe reduce and really take in. And also for him to, at least he has established himself in Galatasaray this last season. He made a name for himself there. So if he does not go to Galatasaray and he stays at the what's it called Napoli, I think they will. But even if they will be giving him weekly, they will be paying him weekly also. I think they will want to frustrate him with that to become. You will lose some values by whereby no other team might want to call him. And there's not something I don't really understand. It's because of Napoli. They can't talk to the coach, or the coach has the final say. Because if just like Ronaldo is a very good player, and if he's having issue with the what's it called, owners of the coach, the owners of the club, they might come in and talk to the manager, shut this guy or let it be or something like that. But Victor Mezon, I don't know if there's anything like that. So he should just start reasoning himself so that he can move on. If not, I think this might be where the work around might start nosediving. If not,
yeah, it's a bad situation. But I think part of this situation is the immaturity of Osimhen. Other footballer players is the immaturity of him, and it's his agent. But that's also his immaturity because he's supposed to be smart enough to take a part in his career. Other guys will not. You don't see this happening with some other players like Lukman and these guys. So Osimhen is very immature. Just like what happened with him and was it the coach for Nigeria? Was it Keshi? Yeah. So it's a very bad. But also these guys at Napoli, they're being very unreasonable. I sense there's a level of racism here on how they're doing. This is not right. I don't think they would treat somebody like Gyökeres, someone like this. They wouldn't treat him like this. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yes, I agree with you. Of course, Italian teams are very racist, even much so Napoli. I just feel that this will drag on towards the end of the transfer window, but it will eventually get resolved. I think Galatasaray is pretty desperate to get him. He's a cult hero there. They love him. You know, his loan spell.
He needs to drop some money from his
exactly.
Maybe
Look at
drop
the
4
example.
million to 5 million.
Exactly. Look at the example Warif gave. Gyökeres was desperate enough to add to the transfer fee so that they could close out the deal with Arsenal because he wanted.
Gyökeres? He said he took some of his money off of his salary.
Exactly. He paid the difference.
€2 million.
He paid the difference.
Because he's not going to be playing for Arsenal.
Yes, to force the move. So I think Osimhen should do same. And I feel the moment he gets a transfer sorted out, he should just change his agent and look for an agent that takes care of him more than just someone that is exploiting him, basically.
Okay. All right. So last thoughts, Warif, and I think we're gonna have a show in 45 minutes. I'll send you guys the link, the research for it. Okay. What are your last thoughts, Warif? Yeah.
Well, Osimhen should have a proper think and think more about the career. You should just speak about so that it go through with the good work he has started already at Galatasaray. They love him. Everything is doing well. I think he has to go right. Obviously, he's concluded. So he should just try to reason his career, and also after this, like what Mr. Falabi said, he should try to reason the agent, look for a very good agent and negotiate very well on his behalf.
Okay, all right.
Osimhen also. Osimhen is hot-headed. He should try and calm down. He should try and calm his nerves down.
Yeah, he needs to calm down because he's ruining his career and he doesn't have any more years. This is his last chance for a World Cup. I don't think he'll be around at 32 at this rate, the way this guy is doing, man. What are your thoughts, Afolabi? Yeah.
Yes, I think that's one other thing I forgot to mention. He has a bit of a temperament issue, and that doesn't augur well with Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte, I know him very well. He's a no-nonsense coach.
Antonio Conte is a stubborn coach.
So he won't get along. he won't get along. Osimhen is quite egotistic. He won't get along with Antonio Conte. So he needs to fine-tune all these areas. So there's so many issues. There's financial, there's injury, there's market value, and there's temperament as well. He would have to compromise on all these factors for him to push a move through to Galatasaray.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'll see you guys at 8:45. Mr. Warif, I'll send you the notes for the show at 8:45. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Take us out of
Okay, it's been another brilliant football show. We've been discussing Victor Osimhen and all the transfer issues that surround him, this transfer window. So we'll be back again from Mustafa, Warif, and myself. Goodbye for now.
All right, I've already given you the notes at Falabi, right? Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it to Mr. Okay, see you guys soon.